Well, the world will be watching when King Charles reads Canada's speech from the throne in just a few hours. For more on the gravity and the grandeur of the moment, we are joined by High Commissioner for Canada in the United Kingdom, Ralph Goodale, who is in London in his office inside Canada House just off Trafalgar Square. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
We were just speaking with the royal correspondent Cameron Walker, and he highlighted just how rare it is for His Majesty to clear his schedule, come across to Canada, and that schedule of late has included cancer treatments. He made this visit specifically for Canada, and you were with the King just before his plane took off for Ottawa. What's your sense of the King's understanding of the significance of this visit?
Oh, I think he understands the importance of this visit very well. As you say, he's cleared his calendar. He's made the special effort on very short notice to make himself available. It is important in our system of governance, a democratic constitutional monarchy, where the delivery of the speech from the throne after an election that has put a new government into office, a new prime minister, a minority parliament. Obviously, situations of geopolitical uncertainty swirling around the world, both economically and from a conflict point of view. Clearly, this is a very important moment, and it is significant that His Majesty himself will be on the throne delivering the speech.
You know, when we tell stories like this, we often like to do it with the backdrop of history, and today's reading does come with that. The last time a monarch read Canada's throne speech was when Queen Elizabeth did so back in 1977. But here's a piece that I was surprised to find out, is that you were there. You attended the speech as a 28-year-old member of Parliament. I'm not going to do the mental math on your age, nor am I going to say it on the air. But what are your memories from this moment?
Well, it was a very special moment. Obviously, when the monarch is present, it is a royal moment. But as you say, delivering the throne speech happens only rarely. It's happened twice before. This will be the third time. And in 1977, we had issues affecting Canadian unity that were beginning to become matters of very serious debate. As you recall, the constitutional amendments went forward and then were implemented in 1982.
She came back for that visit.
Yes, she did. But Her Majesty on this occasion in 1977, I think was very determined to speak to the political success of Canada, not in a partisan sense, but a country that had proven itself in the democratic circles of the world, and a country that she was very proud of. I remember her speaking of her love for Canada and her great sense of pride that the country had been so successful. I was standing back at the end of the Senate chamber, the old Senate chamber, right, in the center block. And of course, the senators are all in their chairs, and all the official guests are taking up the seating arrangements on the floor of the Senate, and the members of Parliament from the House of Commons are all packed in at the end. So there we were, like sardines in a can, listening to the speech. But that too, in terms of Canadian unity, was an extremely important moment. And the presence of Her Majesty the Queen to celebrate her Silver Jubilee, right, but also to celebrate Canada's democracy was an extremely important thing.
It must have been quite a thing for you as a young MP to go from seeing the Queen, photo in the post office to seeing her there in person in the Senate chamber. I want to ask you about the timing of this visit. It comes after that very personal invitation from Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, just days after he took over from Justin Trudeau. And while not everybody in this country we know supports a sovereign, they do support Canadian sovereignty. So what could King Charles' trip mean for Canada's relationship with the Crown?
Well, it's interesting to see how the numbers in support of King Charles, in support of the monarchy, have indeed improved just in these last number of weeks, as Canadians, I think, reflect on the importance of the institution. But I guess here's the thing. we live in a democratic constitutional monarchy, and under the terms of our Charter of Rights, which was signed into law by Queen Elizabeth herself, we have freedom of expression. We have the right to believe and think and say what we feel. All our democratic and political rights and human rights are guaranteed by the Charter, and that is by virtue of the system of governance that we have. So as we reflect on the way forward for the future, I think it's wise to consider all aspects of the debate, including the very positive points about the kind of governance system that we have. And if we're going to change, then to what? Do we want to change to the American system, the French system, the Italian system, the German system? All of them have major drawbacks. And by comparison, in terms of its actual functional success, this democratic constitutional monarchy performs pretty well.
You know, there was a surprise addition to the King's schedule yesterday, and that was with the Assembly that was the audience with the Assembly of First Nations National Chief Cindy Woodhouse, Nipanak, ITK President Nathan Obed, and the President of the Métis National Council, Victoria Pruden. What does this tell you, High Commissioner, about King Charles' both awareness and understanding of Indigenous concerns separate from Canada's sovereignty?
I think on virtually every one of his previous visits to Canada, when he was the Prince of Wales, and there were 19 of them before this visit, he has engaged with Indigenous people, both at the national level and in local communities right across the country. If you think back to his coronation in the spring of 2023, part of that coronation week included a private audience between the leaders of Canada's national Indigenous organizations and His Majesty the King, with the Governor General there as well, who is Canada's first Indigenous Governor General. That had never happened before. And the King is very personally interested in Indigenous affairs. He's very acutely aware that there is a direct link between Indigenous people in Canada and Queen Victoria, who is his great-great-great-great-grandmother. Those treaties were signed in her name, and Indigenous people feel a very strong connection there as a form of guaranteeing their rights in Canada. So that relationship is important, and His Majesty understands the gravity of that relationship and how significant it will be for Canada's future.
High Commissioner, really quick question. I need a quick answer on this one because I'm sneaking it in. But do you think that the uninvited guest to this visit, and that is U.S. President Donald Trump, will be watching? And what is the takeaway?
Oh, I don't know what's on his television schedule for today, but I think he will hear from the King a very profound statement of respect and loyalty and love toward Canada.
As is the intention of this visit. Ralph Goodale, High Commissioner for Canada in the United Kingdom, thank you for joining us from Canada House today.
My pleasure. Thank you.